Revealed, just 21 days post-divorce. She's pregnant. Now, a millionaire's heartwarming plea. In Maplewood, news travels fast. Just 3 weeks after the ink dried on her divorce papers, Hannah Weston discovered she was pregnant again. The world seemed to tilt on its axis as emotions crashed over her like tempestuous waves. Joy danced with fear, each feeling tightening around her chest like a vice. She had 2 young children already, getting by on a budget thinner than a slice of bread. And the thought of a third sent her anxiety spiraling. How would she manage? Yet, beneath that worry flickered a little light, the hope of new life. The quaint town wrapped Hannah in a warm embrace. Neighbors appeared at her door like angels bearing home-cooked meals and baked goodies. Those small-hearted gestures reminded her that although her marriage was over, her community was still there, threading her into the fabric of companionship. "You can do this, Hannah," she whispered to herself, feeling strength build within her for every time she'd face yet another arduous day. Enter Josh Harrington, the town's millionaire and a local war hero with a complicated past. He came from humble beginnings, and although he had wealth in spades now, the shadows of his past haunted him, and trust didn't come easily. But Hannah's fierce spirit caught his eye like a lighthouse on stormy seas. He could feel her struggle resonating with the echoes of his own hardships. He wanted to reach out, to lend support to someone who deserved it. The notion was both a noble mission and a path to his own redemption. As if fate was writing its own drama, news of Hannah's unexpected pregnancy exploded on social media. "Hero single mom finds herself in a shocking twist," read one headline. What should have been joyful swiftly spiraled into public scrutiny. Conversations flared up in the local diner, where coffee-fueled debates whirled around like autumn leaves. Some applauded Josh's willingness to help. Others viewed it as a challenge to age-old family values. Each passionate argument felt like a punch in a boxing ring, echoing through the cozy town. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Hannah wrestled with accepting Josh's help. Her pride fought against the pull of desperation. Was accepting his financial assistance a sign of weakness? What would it mean for her independence? Each day, she felt that pressure increase, like a stack of textbooks on her fragile frame. An angry knock at her door brought words laced with disdain from a neighbor. "You should be ashamed, Hannah." That hit harder than expected, leaving scars on her spirit. Meanwhile, Josh was battling his own demons. Memories of past infidelities plagued his mind like a storm cloud refusing to clear. Could he offer his heart without damaging it further? The burgeoning connection he felt for Hannah challenged him to see beyond his fears and allow the possibility of change, for both of them. As the lines between support and judgment blurred, Hannah found herself standing at the edge of a decision that could forever change her life. Just as she steeled herself for the confrontation ahead, a startling revelation swept through town, a secret that threatened to unveil everything. Would she embrace the gentle push of support from Josh, or would she risk everything by striding forward alone? The stakes had never been higher, and the question lingered in the air, waiting to be answered. The next morning dawned with a heavy mist lingering in Maplewood, cloaking everything in uncertainty. Hannah peered out her kitchen window, taking in the familiar view that now looked foreign. The sun struggled to break through, just as hope struggled within her heart. She hugged her children close, a small boy, Ethan, still enjoying his cereal with tousled hair, and his sister, Mia, who was already humming a tune while playing with her toys on the floor. The innocent joy on their faces was both a comfort and a weight. How could she let anything threaten their happiness? Her phone buzzed, snapping her from the moment. It was a message from Josh. "Let's meet. I want to talk." Each word was heavy with unspoken possibilities. Hannah hesitated. Did she have the strength to face him? To share her doubts and fears? After a few seconds of deliberation, she sent back a simple, "Okay." though her heart raced as if it were already on a journey of its own. Moments later, she was driving to the cafe where they first met. The place bustled with morning activity, clinking cups, laughter, and the scent of coffee mingling with the sweet whiff of pastries. But the world around her felt muted. All her attention was on the impending conversation, swirling with nerves. This was not just about accepting help. It was about embracing vulnerability. When she arrived, Josh was already seated at a corner table, looking both relaxed and intense as he stirred his coffee. The moment their eyes met, something shifted. There was an understanding, the knowledge that they were both on the precipice of a revelation that could change their lives. "Thanks for coming," he said softly, his gaze steady. "Of course," she replied, sitting down across from him. The air between them buzzed with tension, heavy with shared history and unspoken words. "I wanted to talk about everything," he started, taking a breath to steady himself. "I saw the headlines. I know it's overwhelming." She nodded, feeling a lump form in her throat. "It is. I've dealt with gossip before, but this feels different. It feels like my life is on display." Josh reached across the table, his hand hovering just above hers. "You're stronger than you know, Hannah. I admire that." The compliment surprised her. "But do you think I should accept help? Everyone has an opinion." "What if they didn't matter?" he challenged gently, his eyes piercing through her doubts. "What if what you really needed was to lean on someone? Just this once?" The question hung in the air, and Hannah felt her heart flutter. Leaning. It feels like giving up. "There's strength in connection too," Josh replied. "We build each other up. It doesn't mean you're weak." She looked down, wrestling with her thoughts. Could she truly allow someone to support her without losing her independence? The weight of scrutiny played on her shoulders like a boulder. Finally she spoke, vulnerability spilling out. "I'm scared. Scared of what people think. Scared of needing help." "Scared is okay. I'm scared too." He leaned in, his voice lowering to reach her heart. "We've both faced our demons, but if we face this together, maybe we can create something beautiful amidst the chaos." There was a spark in his eyes that ignited something inside her, a moment of clarity amid her tangled emotions. What if they could join forces? Just as she was about to voice her thoughts, the cafe door flung open, and a figure rushed in, looking frantic. The commotion snapped her focus, and panic flooded the room as the townsfolk turned toward the newcomer. Hannah instinctively tightened her grip on her chair, her heartbeat quickening as the figure shouted, "You won't believe what I just heard about Hannah." At that moment, everything shifted again. The weight of what was unfolding bound her in fear, and she knew whatever this was could change everything. Would she find the strength to face what was coming? Hannah's stomach dropped as she registered the words. The bustling cafe was swallowed by silence. Mugs clinked as they were set down. Conversations halted mid-sentence. All eyes were on her. She could feel the heat rising in her cheeks, a whirlwind of emotions clawing at her throat. The figure who burst through the door was none other than Lisa, her neighbor, and a self-proclaimed town gossip. Hannah's heart raced as Lisa's wide-eyed expression only added fuel to the gossip fire. "What on earth are you talking about, Lisa?" Hannah asked, trying to keep her voice steady, although trembling inside. Lisa grinned like she'd just uncovered a great treasure. "I just heard from Marlene at the grocery store. She saw you and Josh together and said it looked like there was more going on than just friendship." A murmur rippled through the cafe, and Hannah's palms grew clammy. Josh's expression shifted as he assessed the scene. "This isn't the time, Lisa," he said firmly, his brow furrowing in concern. "Oh, come on. You can't deny it now," Lisa pressed, clearly enjoying the attention. "I mean, you divorced just 3 weeks ago, and now you're seeing a millionaire? What will people think?" Josh leaned in closer to Hannah, shielding her with his presence. "Ignore her. Let's talk somewhere private." But Hannah felt the weight of everyone's stares. Her vulnerability felt like a scab ripped off, exposing her insecurities before the very community she had tried to protect. "No, I need to address this, she said, her voice shaky but determined. She turned towards the assembled crowd, her heart pounding. Look, yes, I'm in a complicated situation. Yes, I'm trying to figure things out. But please understand, I'm human. I'm a mother who's still trying to find my footing after a divorce. The murmurs softened, but Hannah could still sense their curiosity radiating like a million glowing embers. Josh squeezed her hand, grounding her. Hannah, you don't have to explain yourself, he said, his voice a soothing balm against the chaos. But I do, she insisted, glancing back at Lisa. Maybe I'm taking a step forward with Josh, but I refuse to feel ashamed about it. I have a right to my happiness. Lisa's smirk faltered, perhaps sensing that Hannah was standing her ground. The crowd, too, was shifting, a slow understanding twinkling in some of their eyes. You all wouldn't want to be judged by your mistakes, would you? Hannah continued, her voice gaining strength. We're all doing our best to navigate this messy life. Can't we just let each other do that? The cafe hushed, and for the first time, she felt a swell of confidence. But before she could bask in it, Lisa rolled her eyes and replied dismissively, Yeah, right. Just think about what the headlines will say. And just like that, tension snapped back into place. Hannah watched the way the townsfolk exchanged glances, a mixture of skepticism and intrigue brewing in the air. I won't hide, and I won't apologize for trying to find joy, she declared. The words felt like a shield, rattling off anyone's judgments, but as she turned back to Josh, a question hung unspoken in the air. Had she really made progress, or had her moment of bravery merely advanced the circus of gossip about her life? As they exited the cafe, she caught sight of Lisa watching them closely, raising her phone as if ready to capture the next breaking news. What kind of trouble awaited her now? And could she truly weather this storm with Josh by her side, or would the waves of judgment drown her spirit? The unease settled back into her heart as uncertainty crept in once more. With the eyes of Maplewood now trained on her, the next chapter of her life threatened to spiral out of control. As Hannah stepped out of the cafe, the fresh air caught her breath, a stark contrast to the suffocating tension inside. Josh was beside her, his presence a steady anchor against the storm brewing around them. Yet as they walked, her mind raced with 1,000 thoughts, each one more troubling than the last. Can you believe her? She muttered, half in disbelief and half in frustration. What gives Lisa the right to put my life on display like that? Josh shook his head, his brow still knitted with concern. Forget her, Hannah. You just stood up for yourself. That's what matters. She glanced at him, the warmth of his hand clasping hers surprising her amidst the chaos. But will it be enough? They're all talking. They saw me breaking down in there. What if I can't face them again? He stopped walking and turned to her, eyes fierce but filled with affection. You're so much stronger than you realize. It takes courage to be vulnerable and share your truth. Not everyone can do that. And those who can, earn respect. Hannah took a deep breath, letting his words seep into her soul. She thought about the faces in the cafe, the mix of judgment and curiosity. Some might even admire her for standing tall. Still, doubt nagged at her, making her stomach twist. What if they only see me as a scandal? The fear slipped from her heart to her throat, choking her words. They'll see you however they decide to see you, but you have to decide who you are beneath all this noise, he replied softly. And I see someone who's fighting to find happiness after a tough time. Her heart fluttered at his words. She leaned into him for a brief moment, feeling the comfort of his warmth and the scent of his cologne. You make it sound easy. Nothing is easy about starting over, he admitted, but his smile held an undeniable promise. But we can do it together. As they continued to walk, the weight of the cafe's scrutiny gradually lifted, but the pressure of their situation remained. The truth of her feelings for Josh, a beautifully terrifying possibility, loomed larger in her mind. Was this really the start of something new? Or just another chapter in a life filled with heartbreak? Their footsteps meandered toward the park, where the sounds of children playing echoed like laughter in the air. It was a sanctuary, a reminder that amidst the chaos of adult life, innocence and joy still thrived. Do you want to sit for a minute? Josh suggested, nodding toward a bench under a sprawling oak tree. The sun peeked through the leaves, casting playful patterns of light and shadow on the ground. Hannah hesitated, her heart racing with anticipation. The thought of sitting down meant facing more questions that hovered just beneath her surface, like a tidal wave ready to crash. But this was also a chance to breathe, to gather herself, to embrace the moment with Josh. "Okay," she agreed finally, her voice slightly shaky, but determined. They settled onto the bench, and for a moment, it felt as if the world outside faded away. "How about we make a plan?" Josh asked, breaking the silence, his voice smooth and reassuring. "Let's tackle this together and show Maplewood who you really are." Hannah looked at him, her heart swelling with hope. It felt good, powerful even, to think that maybe, just maybe, they could turn the tide of gossip into a narrative of their own. But as she opened her mouth to respond, a familiar voice interrupted them, a voice that sent chills racing down her spine. "Well, well, look who we have here. The town's latest spectacle." Hannah's blood ran cold as she recognized Lisa striding toward them, her phone at the ready. The glorious moment they had shared shattered in an instant. Hannah felt herself getting defensive, her heart thumping with unease. What new storm was Lisa about to unleash, and more importantly, would Hannah have the strength to keep her head above water this time? Hannah's stomach knotted as Lisa approached, a smirk playing on her lips. It was like watching a threat emerge from the shadows, and every ounce of confidence she had been building felt ready to crumble. "Lisa," Hannah managed, her voice barely a whisper. She could feel Josh's hand tightening around hers, his protective warmth infusing her with a flicker of strength. "Oh, don't mind me," Lisa replied, her tone dripping with mockery. "I just couldn't resist the scene. You two, so cozy on that bench. It's almost cute, isn't it?" She raised her phone slightly, catching the sunlight and reflecting it with an audacious glint. Why did Lisa always have to turn every situation into a performance? Hannah's heart raced, anger bubbling just beneath the surface. She wanted to shove Lisa's phone away, to silence the woman who thrived on attention. "Are you really that desperate for a spotlight?" Josh's voice rumbled beside her, low and steady, a wall against Lisa's taunts. "Desperate? Hardly," Lisa shot back, her eyes dancing with mischief. "I just have a knack for discovering the juiciest stories, and what better story exists than the one unfolding right here?" She gestured dramatically at Hannah, who felt herself shrink under the weight of Lisa's gaze. Hannah drew a sharp breath, her thoughts swirling like a chaotic storm. Each word Lisa threw was like a blow, exposing her vulnerabilities to the rest of the world. Yet, amidst this turmoil, she felt a flicker of defiance. The woman in the cafe hadn't been the whole story. She had found strength somewhere inside. "Maybe it's time for you to focus on your own life instead of trying to control everyone else's," Hannah fired back, surprising herself with the confidence of her voice. For a moment, shock flickered across Lisa's face, but it was quickly replaced with a derisive grin. "Oh, honey, you're adorable. But it's really not about control. It's about the truth." "And what's the truth? Just 21 days post-divorce and you're out here playing house." Each word struck like a flash of lightning, and Hannah clenched her fists in her lap, feeling the heat rise to her cheeks. Josh intervened again, leaning forward, his expression serious. "Enough, Lisa. You should know by now that your games won't work with us." "Games? This is real life, sweetheart," Lisa quipped, her voice now tinged with a sharp edge. "And the reality is, people will talk. You can't control other opinions, just like you can't control who you really are." "Who I really am," Hannah repeated, the incredulousness seeping into her voice. Did Lisa really think she could define that? Suddenly, the laughter of children echoed from the playground nearby, jolting Hannah back. She turned to Josh, that reminder of innocence momentarily grounding her. She couldn't let Lisa bear down on her, not when she had taken one brave step already. "Hannah," Josh said gently, pulling her focus back. "Look at me." She met his eyes, and the warmth there steadied her heart. "You don't owe her anything. This moment is yours." Taking a breath, Hannah stood up straight, anchoring herself with purpose. "You can keep your opinions, Lisa. They don't define me. I'm building my life back. You'll see. Lisa's laughter rang out as a sharp wind, but clenching her jaw, Hannah refused to back down this time. She was more than a scandal or a story. She was reclaiming her narrative, one heartbeat at a time. As Lisa turned away, dismissive and haughty, the tension around them began to dissipate. Relief washed over Hannah like a gentle tide. "I'm proud of you," Josh said quietly, his eyes glowing with admiration. "Thanks," she breathed, feeling lighter despite the encounter. "I just want to prove to myself that I can get through this." "Then let's do it," he said, his smile contagious. "Together." But even as they started to walk away from the scene, Hannah felt that knot of uncertainty still nestled in her gut. Lisa's words echoed in her mind, each one a lingering reminder that this was only the beginning. What else would come to light? And how many more surprises awaited her in the weeks ahead? The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the park as Hannah and Josh walked away from the scene. Even with the tension behind them, her heart still raced, and doubts crept in like unwelcome shadows. She tried to shake them off. "You okay?" Josh asked, glancing sideways at her. "Yeah, just processing everything," she replied, forcing a smile. How could she explain the mix of outrage and confusion swirling inside her? Lisa's words twisted in her mind, pulling her back to the past, but she didn't want to dwell there. Not anymore. They sat on a nearby bench, the fading light wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Hannah drew a deep breath, taking in the sights and sounds, the laughter, the squeals of joy from kids on swings, and the gentle rustle of leaves. This was what mattered. "What do you think she really wants?" Hannah asked, not entirely convinced she wanted to hear the answer. "Why does she keep coming after me?" Josh sighed, running a hand through his hair. "I think she's just trying to get under your skin. Some people thrive on chaos and drama. It makes her feel important. And I've given her that power," Hannah whispered, grappling with a sudden wave of disappointment in herself. "No, you've stood up for yourself today," he insisted, turning to face her fully. "That's a big step." He paused, eyes searching hers. "You need to keep reminding yourself of that. You're stronger than you think." But vulnerability seeped back in, and Hannah looked away, focusing on the playground where parents were gathering their children. "I just wonder if I'll ever really get my footing again. I feel like every little thing attracts questions. People are watching." "They're too busy with their own lives to care that much," Josh replied. "And even if they are, that's just them. Your story is yours. You decide who knows what." A sudden thought struck her. What if it's not just my story anymore? He raised an eyebrow, curiosity piqued. "What do you mean?" The weight of her situation hit hard. Ambivalence wrapped around her like a thick fog. "What if I'm pregnant? With everything that's happened, I could be." The thought ricocheted in her mind, both fear and excitement battling for dominance. Josh's expression shifted instantly from casual concern to deep seriousness. "Are you really considering that?" "I don't know. I haven't even taken a test," she admitted, her stomach tightening. "But the idea is terrifying. There's so much uncertainty already. I can't shake the feeling that I'm standing on the edge of a cliff." He leaned closer. "Hey, it's okay to feel scared. That's a big deal. But whatever happens, you're not alone. I'm here with you." His reassurance warmed her heart, but it wasn't enough to quell the rising tide of thoughts. "Can I even do this? What if I'm not ready for another life to carry?" "You'll figure it out. You just moved into a new chapter after your divorce. This is another layer. Whatever it is, you can handle it. Just take it one day at a time." But deep down, Hannah wondered if one day would ever be enough. Would she be able to breathe through the storm, or would fear drown out every hope inside her? They fell into a reflective silence, their thoughts intertwined like a woven thread. The air was heavy with possibility, yet Hannah felt herself at war with reality. In that moment, she realized something. Answers were needed sooner, rather than later. She couldn't continue living in uncertainty, especially not with Lisa's taunt still buzzing in her ears. "Maybe I should take that test tomorrow," she said, her voice firm. I need to know. Josh nodded, respect evident in his gaze. Whatever that test reveals, know you're stronger than you think. You'll navigate this path, however winding it may be. His words hung in the air, a lifeline thrown into her turbulent waters. But as she stared into the dusk sky, a deep-rooted fear clawed at her. What if the news changed everything she thought she knew? What if the truth, no matter how it came, only deepened the chaos in her life? Tomorrow would decide the next chapter. And the thought both thrilled and terrified her. As they stood to leave, the faint sound of laughter faded into the distance behind them, the shadows stretching around them like whispered secrets. The road ahead was uncertain, but Hannah felt that first flicker of determination beneath the fatigue. What awaited her in the morning light? Would the truth set her free, or further complicate her story? The morning sun peeked through the curtain, casting a soft glow across Hannah's bedroom. She awoke with a start, heart racing as yesterday's conversation replayed in her mind. The weight of uncertainty settled back in like an unwelcome guest. Pushing the duvet aside, she swung her legs over the bed, feeling the cool wooden floor against her feet. Today was the day. The test lay waiting in the bathroom, a small, unassuming box that held the power to change everything. Hannah took a moment to breathe deeply, trying to collect herself. She thought about Josh's words. You're stronger than you think. But was she really? She stumbled through her morning routine, splashing water on her face and brushing her hair in a daze, her mind racing down tangled pathways of possibility. What would it mean to be pregnant so soon after her divorce? Could she handle the weight of that responsibility? The endless questions felt like an avalanche, burying her under layers of what-ifs. She forced herself to prepare a simple breakfast. The smell of coffee wafted through the air, grounding her slightly. As she sipped, the warmth traveled through her, sparking a flicker of comfort. But it was fleeting. After a few moments, the clock's hands seemed to push her along like a stern schoolteacher. It was time. Hannah inhaled deeply, the air seeming heavy as she walked to the bathroom. The test sat waiting for her, and with a shaking hand she picked it up. She followed the instructions methodically, though her mind buzzed like a live wire. What is this going to say? An eternity felt like a heartbeat as she set the test down on the counter and turned away to distract herself, cleaning the sink, arranging toiletries, trying to focus on anything but the impending results. Finally, she couldn't take it anymore. Holding her breath, she turned back around. And there it was, almost too surreal to register. 2 lines. Shock rippled through her. It felt like ice water pouring down her spine. She sank to the edge of the bathtub, tears springing to her eyes. The weight of the news crashed down on her, an avalanche burying everything she'd fought to rebuild. What do I do now? She whispered to herself, hands trembling. She'd thought the uncertainty was bad, but this was tenfold. The reality set in. Would she raise a child alone? How would she explain this to her friends, to Josh? Would they understand? Her thoughts spiraled as she envisioned Lisa's face when she found out. Would she revel in her chaos all over again? Just then, her phone buzzed on the counter, breaking through the turmoil. It was a message from Josh. Hey, just checking in. I'm thinking about you. Want to talk? The warmth of his words cut through her anxiety temporarily. He was there, steady and supportive. Could she lean on him more? Taking a deep breath, Hannah texted back, "Can we meet? I need to talk." As the seconds ticked by, she started to question everything again. Maybe discussing it with him could make the whirlwind less daunting. But what if his reaction only added to her fear? With her heart pounding in rhythm to the clock's tick, she glanced down at the test still lying on the counter, a stark reminder that her life was shifting in ways she never imagined. The doorbell rang, sending a jolt through her. Hannah opened the door to find Josh standing there, his face a mix of concern and hope. In that moment, everything felt fragile, yet imbued with a flicker of power. "Hey, you asked to talk?" he said softly. "Yes," she replied, swallowing hard. "I have something to tell you." But before she could explain, Hannah realized that she was holding back more than just a conversation. She was standing at the edge of a choice, a significant moment that held the power to redefine not just her story, but both of theirs. She looked up at him, her heart pounding in a new way, filled with a mix of fear and resolve. What would he say when he heard the truth? Would this only bring them closer, or would it push them apart? The air suddenly felt charged, and as they stepped inside, she knew that their conversation would be the turning point she'd been searching for. As she gathered her courage, Hannah wondered if she was about to take a leap into the unknown, or if the ground beneath her would crumble away completely. With that thought lingering like a cloud overhead, she took a breath and began speaking, her voice trembling yet full of purpose. Hannah took another deep breath, her heart racing as she finally voiced the words that had been swirling inside her. "Josh, I took a pregnancy test this morning. It's positive." The silence that followed felt like a vacuum, pulling the air from the room. She studied Josh's face, searching for a reaction. His brows furrowed as he processed her statement, his bright blue eyes searching hers for clarity amidst the storm of emotions. "Positive?" he echoed, the word hanging heavy between them. "You mean you're—" "Yes." She nodded slowly, the reality of it hitting her again with full force. She looked down, not wanting him to see the fear and confusion etched on her features. "I don't know what this means. I mean, it's so soon after everything. I just don't know how to do this." For a heartbeat, the weight of her confession set in, making her feel raw and exposed. Hannah could feel the tension in the room. It crackled like static. "What do you think?" she whispered, her voice barely above a murmur. Would he turn away? But instead of stepping back, Josh stepped closer. "Hey," he said gently, lifting her chin so their eyes met. "We'll figure this out together." His words wrapped around her like a soft blanket, a promise that for once, she wouldn't have to face the world alone. "But how?" she asked, her voice trembling. "I'm scared. I'm not ready to be a parent. Not now. Not like this." She wiped a stray tear that had escaped down her cheek. "Neither of us is sure what the next steps are." Josh took a deep breath. "But I want you to know that no matter what, you won't have to go through this by yourself. You're stronger than you think, remember?" Hannah felt a spark of hope amid her confusion, yet guilt tugged at her heart too. How could she drag him into this when he had his own life to sort through? "I don't want to burden you, Josh. You've been through enough already." "You're not a burden," he replied, his gaze steady and resolute. "If I'm here, it's because I want to be. So let's talk about it. About everything." She nodded, feeling more grounded while still teetering on the ledge of the unknown. They moved to her small living room, where sunlight streamed in through the windows, bathing everything in a warm glow. For a moment, it felt like a safe haven, a temporary escape from the looming uncertainty. "Okay," Hannah began, her voice stronger as she spoke about her fears, her hopes, and the dizzying mix of emotions swirling inside her. As she let her guard down and shared her deepest worries, she could see Josh absorbing each word, his expression unwavering. "I guess part of me wonders if I even deserve this," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've just come out of a marriage, and now, what if I end up alone again?" "Hey, stop right there," he interrupted, reaching across to take her hand in his. "You're not alone. You've got me. We'll take it one step at a time." His touch sparked something deep within her, igniting a flicker of courage she thought she'd lost. As they sat together, the minutes morphed into a blend of laughter and tears, sprinkled with silence as they embraced the weight of the situation. Would they be able to redefine their relationship through this unexpected twist of fate? Just then, her phone buzzed again, breaking the intimacy of the moment. Looking down, she saw a message from Lisa. "What's going on? I heard something huge happened." Hannah's heart sank. Could she confide in her friend, and would she receive the support she so desperately needed, or the judgment she feared? Hannah looked up at Josh, who was still watching her, ready to tackle whatever came next. The flicker of shared strength reassured her, but the question still loomed. How would she handle the complicated web of friendships, family expectations, and her own fears in a world that felt uncertain? With the question hanging in the air, Hannah couldn't shake off the sense that this leap would redefine her life. And as the night stretched ahead, she realized that the hardest choices lay just beyond the horizon. Would she be brave enough to face them? Hannah held the phone tightly, the light from the screen illuminating her face as she stared at the message from Lisa. The excitement in her friend's text felt like a double-edged sword. Should she rise to the occasion and share her news? Or should she keep this monumental moment private for just a little longer, tucked away within the confines of her and Josh's fragile bubble? Seeing the concern flicker across Josh's expression made her take a breath. With a quick glance back at the text, she could feel his reassurance enveloping her, urging her to be honest. But oh, the weight of judgment hung heavily in the air. Just 21 days after her divorce, she was in a whirlwind of unexpected events. Would her closest friend understand? "Do you think I should tell her?" she said softly, her stomach churning. Josh leaned back on the couch, his gaze thoughtful. "It's up to you. But if Lisa is your friend, she'll want to support you no matter what." "Yeah, but what if she reacts differently?" The words caught in her throat, trembling like the fear inside her. Was she inviting more chaos by opening up? Josh shifted closer again and offered a comforting squeeze of her hand. "You can't control how others react, Hannah, but you can control how you want to feel about this. Choose to be honest." That was exactly what Hannah needed to hear. With her heart racing, she typed out a quick reply. "I'll tell you everything. Can you come over?" Fingers hovering over her phone, she hit send. The decision felt liberating and terrifying all at once. Within minutes, Lisa's response popped up. "On my way. Can't wait to hear this news." Hannah felt a jolt of nerves. What would Lisa say? What would she think about the whirlwind of Hannah's life? "Are you all right?" Josh's voice cut through her thoughts. "I will be, I think," she murmured. "I just hope I don't hurt her feelings. I don't want her to feel like a punching bag for my life choices." His lips curled into a reassuring smile. "As long as you're honest and open about how you feel, I think it will be fine. You're not burdening her. You're living life and sharing it." Her phone buzzed again, Lisa's arrival message pinging her nervous heart. "Here already? Guess we don't have time to prepare," Josh said with a lightness that eased the tension within her. "Just be yourself. You can do this." As Hannah rose to meet her friend, she glanced back at him. His presence anchored her, a lifeline right before who knows what. In seconds, Lisa bounded through the door, her energy filling the room. "Hey, what's the big news? You look intense." Hannah's voice felt lodged in her throat as she struggled to find words. She wanted to scream, laugh, and cry all simultaneously. I've got something monumental to tell you." Lisa's eyes widened, and she folded her arms expectantly. "Well, don't keep me in suspense. Spill it." Behind her, Hannah felt Josh's steady presence like an invisible arm around her waist, reminding her she wasn't facing this alone. Taking a breath, she prepared to uncover her reality, every raw emotion flooding back: fear, joy, uncertainty, and perhaps even a hint of hope. But as she opened her mouth, the future felt more uncertain than ever. There was no turning back now. The truth was poised on the tip of her tongue. Would Lisa rise to the occasion, or would this revelation unravel threads she cared about deeply? Would their friendship be strong enough to withstand the challenges ahead? Hannah felt her heart pounding as she prepared for the words that could change everything. The air in the room felt thick with expectation. Suddenly, she took a deep breath, embracing the vulnerability. "Lisa, I'm pregnant." The revelation hit the room like a thunderclap. Silence followed, wrapping around them like a heavy blanket. Lisa's expression shifted from excitement to shock, her mouth opening slightly, as if she were about to say something. But nothing came out. Josh squeezed Hannah's hand reassuringly, offering her a silent nod of support. She needed that. "I just found out this morning," Hannah continued, a tremor in her voice. "And it's a lot to process, especially after everything that's happened." A flicker of surprise crossed Lisa's face before she stepped closer, her posture softening. Wow, Hannah, that's huge. Her tone shifted, and the frantic energy that usually accompanied her faded into genuine concern. How do you feel about it? Hannah's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she looked at her friend. Honestly, I'm scared. I didn't plan for this. I don't know if I can do it alone, and with everything happening, I'm just a mess. Lisa's expression softened further. You're not a mess. You're human. This is a lot for anyone to handle, especially so quickly after your divorce. You'll figure it out, though. You're strong. You've been through so much already. Thank you, Hannah whispered, overwhelmed by the kindness in her friend's response. But there's more. I'm trying to navigate it with Josh. She turned to Josh, who met her gaze with unwavering strength. I don't want him caught up in the fallout of my choices. Josh leaned forward, his voice steady. I want to be here for you, Hannah. We're in this together. You're not alone in this. His reassurance acted like a balm on her nerves, creating a strength within her that she hadn't realized was there. Together? Really? Lisa raised an eyebrow and Hannah chuckled softly, appreciating her friend's wisdom. What do you think, Josh? Is it crazy? It's not crazy, Josh said earnestly. It's complicated, but it's worth exploring. Life can throw us curveballs, but facing them head-on can lead to something beautiful. A spark ignited inside Hannah at the thought. What if this unexpected journey was, in fact, an opportunity for transformation? Her heart warmed at the idea of building a new life filled with love and support. Wow, what a plot twist, Lisa said, her tone lightening. Raising a child together could be amazing. The lightheartedness in her voice was like a cool breeze washing over Hannah, pushing away the lingering doubts. Hannah felt a wave of relief wash over her. I just need to own it, don't I? No matter where it leads us? Exactly, Josh said. And remember that it's okay to lean on others too. You've got me. And as you can see, Lisa's support is here too. Tears of gratitude spilled over Hannah's cheeks. Thank you for always being here. I couldn't have asked for better friends. Their little support circle felt solid, a connection infused with love, compassion, and hope. Together, they embraced the uncertainty and the promise of the unknown. As laughter spilled out among them, Hannah felt lighter. Every moment of fear about judgment and gossip shifted into a space of acceptance. This gestation of a new life, both literally and metaphorically, had the potential to blossom into something transformative for all of them. Let's figure out what this means, Lisa suggested, eyes twinkling with enthusiasm. We can make a plan. You're going to need support. Lots of it. That sounds great, Josh added, and I'll be by your side every step of the way. What could easily have become a moment of chaos transformed instead into a gathering of strength. With faithful friends and newfound determination, Hannah looked forward to facing whatever came next. And the world of Maplewood? Let it buzz with rumors and expectations. Hannah was ready to reshape her story, each narrative thread woven into a richer tapestry of life, love, and the kind of family that could weather any storm. She might not see it all yet, but the promise of the days to come filled her with hope. Now, with the dawn of new beginnings ahead, it was time for her to take that leap into the unknown. With every bit of courage she could muster. You need to subscribe now to not miss the twists and turns of Hannah's journey ahead. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this transformation. And don't wait, not even one more second, to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this heartwarming transformation. Everyone deserves to embrace their truth.